Well, what is up, everybody? Keith, aka Gator Guy 231, here to break down Saturday's two-game EPL slate. I know there's a lot of big contests out there. Really is a shame that the schedule fell the way it did with two-game slate, and honestly, not like the best two-game slate we've ever had. I think it would be a lot more fun if you had like two even teams, or just a different pricing structure where there was like more constructions open. With that said, that's going to bring a great like advantage to GPP players. This is a good chance to maybe leverage some ownership. We know that Chelsea and Liverpool stacks are going to be chalk. We know like a lot of people are going to have multiple Liverpool pieces, multiple Chelsea pieces. So if you do decide to go a different route, maybe take a Burnley goal scorer or a West Ham goal scorer or something like that, you have a really good chance to differentiate your lineups. Before we get into the analysis, just one quick reminder, bottom right of the screen, hit that subscribe button. We are shooting for 1,000 subscribers. We are so close. And to help incentivize you, I guess, to do so, if you do subscribe to the channel and click the link in the details to our Twitter contest, we're giving away $100 in cash the moment that we get to 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you join that contest. All right, guys, let's jump into the games. Just doing this a little differently in terms of where I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to use directly from Sofa's website. They got rid of their little the way that I was able to get it onto our site. So we're just going to do it this way. But let's just go over the odds real quick. Chelsea minus 169 away to Burnley. There's only a 2 3/4 total. The big favorite and the big total of the game is Liverpool at home to West Ham minus 251. Just going to go over real quick, like on a team news perspective. And I think just like the big thing for the slate is we saw midweek Mo Salah, Firmino, and Mane all sat versus Midland. They did check in later in the game, but obviously Klopp was doing that for rest purposes and load management. So we should very much expect them back in the lineup. The other thing I will note, something Klopp has done now, I want to say it's been like 2 years, but when the team kind of needs a jolt, he likes to change the formation up. So obviously everybody knows Liverpool is the 4-3-3. I've kind of noted in a lot of ways there's a lot of changes in that 4-3-3. It's not like the most traditional one, but what Klopp has done the last two games now was play Mo Salah up top, or actually I should say the one game that Salah started and then midweek where he didn't, but play a striker up top and then three kind of in that attacking midfield. So you drop Firmino, or in midweek it was Minamino into like a number 10 playmaking role, and then having two wingers. So the last two it's been Jota, and obviously if Mane is in, he'll be on the left, but this past game it was Origi. So I don't know. Here's all I'll say about Liverpool. It's either going to be a 4-3-3 with just the big three up top, like you've always known. So Mane in the left, Firmino in the middle, Salah on the right. Or I don't think that he trusts anybody right now other than Jota to play in the league. So, if it's 4-2-3-1, you can play it would be Jota on the right. So I'm going to go a little bit more into that when we go into kind of the games and the construction. But let's start out with Chelsea versus Burnley. So obviously Chelsea, after a really rough start to the season, their defense has been the big thing to change. I believe now it's 3 straight clean sheets that they've kept. Here was my only issue doing this. All right, there we go. They've kept 3 straight clean sheets. The shape has been a lot better. And obviously, a big part of that, it was Mendy getting into the fold and helping shore up the back. So let's just talk about Chelsea. I think this is what I've seen a number of times, this formation. So this will be the first time that really their big four are all together. The one thing I'll note, obviously Kovacic could be Conte. I didn't look through like team news if somebody's injured. So apologies if like this is wrong. I'm just going to kind of go off of that, this being right. But Kai really just more in the middle and just has a free role as like a number 10. Or even like if you want to call it like just kind of can be box to box. But Jorginho and Kovacic are very defensive, letting Havertz just kind of roam and play make, which is what he's best at. So I think the big thing that we learned midweek was even with Ziyech in, Chol is still the favorite set taker. So I think he's immediately one of the guys that we're going to want to have on our short list of plays. I guess I should speed ahead to kind of my Liverpool guess because it's going to impact Chilwell. TAA and Robertson have played a ton. I can't remember the last time both of them didn't start. With the frontline guys getting a break midweek, I really wonder if Klopp decides to give one of Robertson or TAA a break. My gut, and it's just a gut, it's just just seeing and just knowing that he's going to load manage with all the UCL coming up, is that at least one of them gets a break. So I kind of would make an argument, maybe this is a little contrarian, but that you play Chilwell, if in, of course, plus one of the Liverpool guys, not two. I think that's going to immediately be contrarian, and it will suck, obviously, if they're both in. But I think if one of them is not in, we may really regret not playing Chilwell versus a Burnley team that likes to bunker, with him predominantly on sets and also having great open play value. So I really do think Chilwell is a great play. If Chilwell is to miss and Ziyech is in with Reece James, now it's a little bit of heartburn. I think Ziyech would take most sets over Reece James. But, if all of a sudden Reece James jumped on sets, I wouldn't be shocked at all. But let's say this with Ziyech. He's a phenomenal player regardless. I don't think he's going to be that owned because I don't know. I really don't know on ownership. I know I've seen some people chat about that's going to be a super chalky slate. I don't think I prescribe to that. I think there are a number of ways that you can go about this build. The one thing I'm going to say that I think is a consensus is that you're not going to necessarily be playing forwards that you love or have set pieces. It's going to be kind of a goal show there, and that's where you're going to spend most of your salary. So I think majority of people are going to play Salah plus either pin spinning down for like a Firmino or Jota, or coming into Chelsea and playing like Pulisic or Werner. And I think Werner will be double the ownership of Pulisic. So let's just kind of go to that. It's going to come out negative, but I'm not meaning it to be. I think Werner is a phenomenal player, but this is not the same team of Werner that we had at Leipzig, where we could get 6, 7, 8 shots out of him. Chelsea's working a lot more methodical than Leipzig, who just wanted to fire at all times. So I think Werner's still a great play. I believe he took a PK at the end of the game after Jorginho had missed. So I'm assuming that Jorginho's lost that role. That gives Werner a lot of equity, especially with Chelsea likely pushing a lot. I think this is going to be a highly possessed game by Chelsea with Burnley playing on the counter. So I think Werner's fine. I think the price is very solid. You just understand you need a goal. It's not the Werner that we used to have where we could have 11 or 12 floor points without a goal or assist. Like, you're just going to need a goal or assist. Pulisic has a little bit more floor than Werner, but honestly, like, Pulisic isn't getting like 13 DK without a goal or assist. He's just as scoring dependent as Werner. Ziyech, on the other hand, because of his willingness to shoot, cross and open play, draw fouls a lot more than the other guys, and potentially have some sets, even though he didn't take really in many with Chilwell on the pitch versus Krasnodar. I still think there's a good chance that Ziyech just shows up and decides to take a lot more, or Chilwell doesn't sprint to the other side of the pitch, and Ziyech stays over there. So I really do like Ziyech quite a bit. I think he, honestly, on the slate probably has the highest floor, with or without sets. I think, he walks on the pitch with double digits versus Burnley. So I really do like him. I kind of talked about Chilwell. We're talking about Reece James. Kai Havertz, to me, is still strictly GPP. I know it's a big name. Just understand, and honestly, he has even less of a floor than Werner or Pulisic because of where he's at on the pitch. He's got to get a goal or assist. So I think of all the attackers for Chelsea, he's my least favorite, which also probably means, a lot of people's least favorite, meaning there's this great GPP ownership or leverage to be made from him. On the Burnley side of things, like I've said a lot with bigger dogs, I think that the way to attack them is not to necessarily go for the floors and sets, but to go for goal upside. So I think the two guys that I'd be most interested in are Chris Wood or Ashley Barnes. Didn't look at Matthew Loughton's price. Obviously, last week he was super cheap, so if he didn't get a price jump, I think that's fine for a punt. Robbie Brady, I do know, is very cheap. I don't think he'd have any sort of sets with McNeil and Westwood on, but if you want to lock in 2 DK early, go for it. But I wish it was the Robbie Brady that we used to have where he was on like sets and every time he touched the ball, he crossed the ball. It's just not his game anymore. I think I've worn this game out. Let's go to the next game, Liverpool versus West Ham. And like I said, I kind of already talked a little bit about Liverpool, but, this prediction and a lot of others does have Robertson and TAA in. I'm truly like kind of just like putting my own gut out there about that rotation. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, is what it is. It's just kind of where the edge that maybe I'm trying to play, or maybe I'm overthinking. I don't know. What I'm gonna do, I'm just letting you all know now. I guess I should preface this. It's 9:15 on Friday night. What I plan to do is play Andrew Robertson, and if he's in, then fine. I'll stay that way. If he's out, swap to TAA. Either one of them, without the other, potentially could have monopoly set pieces. I would say that James Milner, if on, with Robertson, maybe he splits, but TAA on with James Milner possibly takes a monopoly. So just know that. It doesn't make me want to play James Milner, but works there. And this formation is really weird and messed up. Like Nico Williams would not be playing center back. I need to look more through the depth, but I can't. Nico Williams is an attacker, so that would be scary. I don't know if they're going to play center back. I think Fabinho is suspended or injured. Let's see if they tell me. They're going to tell me here. Yeah. This is why you do a little extra research before you get on. So apologies on that, but regardless, we're not interested in center backs. We're interested in the fullback situation and the attackers. So let's go to the attackers. I think Salah is going to be the most owned player on the slate, and for good reason. High goal scoring odds. I don't really use goal scoring odds. Like I don't pull it. I just somebody you can fact check me, but I'm sure he has the high goal scoring odds on the slate. And obviously Liverpool has the highest total on the slate, so I get it. I think immediately, if you want to be contrarian and just get off some ownership and just make a unique lineup, you play Sadio Mane over Salah. Easily, if Salah's 50%, Mane maybe is 30, and you just look through years of Liverpool, like there's not a ton between the two. And so let's say they both score, but Mane gets you 20 DK and Salah gets you 16. That's already 4 points of leverage that you have over somebody else. Then obviously the other play is so you can just play them together. It's going to hurt your ability to maybe spend up on any Chelsea pieces, but I can't fault the play. Like, Liverpool wins 3-0 or 3-1. One of them scores 2, the other scores 1. There's some assists between the two, and Yahtzee, you've got it. So Liverpool to me has never been that hard of a team to like figure out. Obviously, I'm a fan, but from a DFS perspective, it's Robertson, it's Mane, it's Alexander-Arnold, and it's Salah. I think that Roberto Firmino, because of his price, will catch some steam, especially with the ability that if you plug Roberto Firmino, then you see Jota in. Jota's I think like 100 or 200 cheaper, so you can just make that swap and then you get a winger. So I think that's fine. Here's the thing with Firmino and even Jota to an extent, but more so Firmino. Firmino has no floor. If he doesn't score a goal, he's going to show up with 4 or 5 DK. Now again, he's like 2,200 cheaper than Werner, or it's like 2,000 cheaper than Werner. So and what's Werner's for? 7 or 8. So it's not a huge difference in floor. But I'm always surprised when Firmino has the goal for Liverpool versus like it's Mane or Salah. Obviously, I think if you get that goal notification, there's a Chelsea goal, you assume that it's Werner. So I do think there's equity in that. That's the Liverpool side. On the West Ham side, I think they're really hurt by Mikel Antonio not being in here. Haller, despite being a huge signing and them expecting tons of things from him, he's really underdelivered. I do think he's a really interesting GPP play considering no Van Dijk. According to this, I need to go back and look at the Fabinho stuff. I truly am sorry that I didn't look that up beforehand. Shame on me. But, if Fabinho isn't in, Liverpool's going to struggle to defend some set pieces. So I think that's actually a really interesting GPP stack, is doing like Haller plus Cresswell, or Haller plus his Bowen. I know Bowen's price doesn't do you any favors on this slate. So he'll be low owned. That stack will be no owned. Again, you're looking to have one event happen, so your percentage chance isn't great on it, but the leverage and the equity that you have on that specific play happening is pretty huge. So I think that would be like my GPP look. Masuaku and Kofau are fine. Cresswell, look, he's kind of a thin play because he's been playing that back three, but he's still kind of, when they've been in possession, is getting up in this area where he can still cross the ball in. And then he's been taking the in-swinging corners on that side. So I think he's fine. Susek, that's another guy that is a set-piece threat. So if you really want to be contrarian, don't do Hilaire. Do like Bowen to Susak. That will be like in a 3,000 person contest. You might be the only one or one of like 10 people with that. So that could be really low owned. And yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. I hope. Look, I know that this wasn't like insanely fired up about all the picks, or I'm not going like this is the best slate in years. But look, like I know it's not like the most fun slate you'll ever see, but I hope that I illustrated and kind of gave you some ideas to some different ways that you can differentiate yourself in your lineups, and maybe give yourself a good chance to have a great early Saturday, spike a GPP early, and rock on to the weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, if you haven't hit that bottom right subscribe button, please do so now. It is very much appreciated. Once again, Keith, aka Gator Guy 231. Have a great Saturday. See ya.